Alright, so day number 1 came to a wrap yesterday with POLANIA showing up and dominating the entire fall tournament. ACAT was actually the one that won that tournament, going 6-0 utilizing POLANIA. Zyron showed up too, taking second position. Saturas actually took the third spot and Mixu took the fourth. However, only the first spot is able to move on to the finals, and the second position actually gets a bonus prize of 100 euros. This is going to be day number 2, and as you can see on your screen, it is the yesterday's finals of the third spot and the fourth spot being Mixu facing off today to be able to get the number 1 spot. As of right now, they are both undefeated, and both of them, as you can see, are going to lock in POLANIA, because POLANIA OP, I guess you could say. Both locking in Anna. However, Saturas is going to throw you a little curveball here, as he's planning to lock in that gunner, and I think that is actually a very wise decision due to the fact that you're trying to counter the meta, and as you can see, Mixu is locking in the meta itself with Anna and 2 Strashniks. So let's go over let's just talk about some of the meta and analyze as much as we can. I'm gonna give you a brand new layover here, and hopefully that'll help you keep track of who's who. Blue Saturas, Kova Mixu in the red with the VP points up and above. All right, so the meta as of right now looks something like this. Get yourself a rifleman, turn this engineer into something more valuable. For example, that grenade right there, as he's pinging it right now. Get yourself a few more riflemen, fill this all the way up until you can't fill this up anymore, and get yourself a 6th unit called another engineer. And that is going to be the opening builds for every single faction, whether it is you play POLANIA, whether it is you play Saxony or Rusp, it doesn't really matter. Get yourself 6 riflemen and 1 engineer at the end. The last engineer is going to be in charge of building that next building to be able to get into your reserve 1. Okay. So right now we're just going to conquer whatever resources we can, whether it is resource caches, whether it is iron mines. As you can see, Mixu being really aggressive here, stepping all the way up to the front lines, ignoring his back capped areas, while Saturas is doing the complete opposite and being able to capture his most or closest resources. So as I said, get yourself some riflemen. Right now we're holding for 200 more iron up here. With the second this hits 200 iron, Saturas will most likely get himself another engineer. Not engineer, but rifleman. First engagement, by the way. Mixu did a good job there focusing down that car, which does a decent amount of damage to that rifleman squad. He is choosing to get another rifleman, as I said, but there's no full retreat coming out of that unit that just got exploded upon from that car, because he is going to utilize him once more. I see a lot of new players fully retreat that unit out of panic, but he's actually over here. He retreated him, just pulled him back manually, is now able to cap this point, and or maybe even defend the point if Mixu decides to be aggressive, as you can see right now. But one of the main reasons POLANIA is chosen is due to the fact that they do so well behind cover from such long range. As you can see, that unit was not favored in that fight. However, behind some cover and then buying enough time to be able to bring in some reinforcements, boom, bang, bow, now that's his. Again, behind cover, just gonna sit back here, gonna capture that up, and most likely, you know, come in for reinforcements again, and now help out that grenadier that's in danger as he blows up this only source of cover that he had at the time. And 2 more riflemen go ahead towards the left side. As I said already, look down below. We are only building riflemen because they are pretty damn strong, especially, you know, grouped up in pairs of 2s, maybe even 3s. Mixu doing whatever you can to be able to hide behind these sandbags, but, you know, Saturas doesn't mind going in full melee here, as he is winning in HP already. But looking away, Saturas did have to eat that grenade. I don't think that retreat was necessary. But even I do that just out of panic, not knowing how much damage you're going to take. So I'd rather be safe than sorry and go ahead and fully retreat that unit to keep it alive. Looks like Mixu's doing a little bit of a melee combat himself. Let me just go over, before everything starts spiking, the meta right now. In Iron Harvest, there's a few things that happen. Everyone starts off, this is going to be your combat value, with a few engineers and a rifleman. They keep scaling up slowly, and then all of a sudden, after you build this one building, once you get to your 6th engineer, or 6th unit, because you don't have any more pop cap, This big spike happens. Your res 1 spike as we are currently fighting still. Let me get this off the screen. It looks like Saturas is going to win that fight, by the way, especially with reinforcements coming in here. Yep. You can see one full retreat, but a manual retreat, or soft retreat, I call it, out of Mixu from the other rifleman. But he's most likely going to have to full retreat that as well soon. However, reinforcements come. There's a lot of cycling in and out, keeping your forces around as long as possible to be able to harass and gain resources as these guys are fighting for territory. Going back to this little chart that I'm going to draw to the side now. After the building, a big spike happens. And this is going to be your res 1 spike. And then after that, another step ladder, which happens later on. It's not your reserve 2, but it can be your reserve 2, depending on which comp you sort of pick. These 2 spikes is what everyone is excited for. However, it's also, I want to say it's also the problem that Iron Harvest is having right now. That these spikes happen all of a sudden, especially for new players that are not able to adjust properly in anticipation to what is going to happen in said couple minutes. And I'm talking about timing because in 6 minutes and 30 seconds, between that and 7 minutes and 30 seconds, depending on what elo you play in, kind of looking at this combat, this is the timing in which you can expect res 1 to come down depending on which elo again you play at. That rifleman's gonna make it out, isn't he? Wow. Okay. So at that time, if you peek right up here, you can anticipate your reserve 1 hitting the battlefield. And that is one of the step ladder spikes that I was talking about earlier, and how the meta is swinging in POLANIA's favor, at least because it is such a big spike with the fact that there's double Strashniks and a hero arriving, and just a lot of firepower essentially that people need to deal with. So Mixu being really aggressive here, it looks like he is winning the majority of the map, especially by holding 2 VP points and even that oil towards the right side. Saturas on the back foot here. However, there it is, 6 minutes, he clicks the reserves 1, which is going to allow him to get the reserves 1 at about 6 minutes and 30 seconds. There's a nice engineer sneaking around. So the engineer that he had one job, right? He had one job, which is build your barracks and then go become useful. Go become something else. He got that engineer to turn into a gunner, but he immediately retreats it because he sees that massive group of Mixu's riflemen coming around the corner. I love this flank, by the way, by Saturas, who was able to come around this side and then flank from the other side down below as well to be able to fend off whatever POLANIA forces Mixu is sending towards that oil. And there's a mass retreat happening. Saturas trying to step up, probably going to deal as much damage as he can, try to bleed them out to be able to pay the cost to be able to reinforce them a bit more. But no one's gonna lose any units here. There's that retreating gunner I was talking about. He immediately retreated it because he knew that he was gonna be in danger eventually. But the reason he got the gunner, which I think is really smart, was because he already has a gunner in his reserves 1. And gunners do so good against Strashniks. And how many Strashniks does Mixu have? 2 Strashniks.
What's next?
Against 2 gunners? I don't know how to spell Strashnik. That's a Strashnik, by the way. Is going to do really well against Mixu's composition as these gunners do step up. Now check this out. Watch the damage. Look at that damage. Look at that damage. And I don't know if Mixu's realizing that his Strashnik's in danger on the right side as he is more focused over here, finally realizing this. Now I did mention that gunners are really good, right? What about riflemen? They're really good as well. A mass amount of riflemen focusing down the Strashnik is going to do really well as he is chasing that Strashnik down in hopes of trying to defeat it. And getting that one down is actually really, really good. If he does, he manages. He manages. Alright, well, that goes one of the reserve units down for Mixu, as we are now focusing towards the left side to fend off the attacking forces of Mixu against this flag that is posted up here. Anna versus Anna. Looks like Mixu's Anna stepping up, be sort of aggressive against that Strashnik that Saturas manages to get out as well. But hey, keep in mind, we have gunners, right? Gunners can knock down units, knock down heroes, and stagger them. So he got another engineer. Alright, and guess what that engineer is gonna do? I already mentioned this in the beginning parts. There's 2 spikes, and each engineer is part of that spike. This is that one building. Boom, spike happens. There's gonna be another building. boom, spike happens. Right here, these are the 2 points you get engineers for. And then eventually, either turn them into something more valuable or leave them around to be able to heal up your Strashniks, units, mechs, whatever it is you desire, or turn them into something more valuable. So spam of riflemen against that Strashnik is going to be pretty devastating, especially with the gunner squad, as you can tell, hidden behind that squad. Mixu's trying his best to be able to harass the back line here, sending in units. But he's got to be careful, because if you get caught out, you're already down one Strashnik. And your firepower and or your dominance on the battle is not as powerful as it used to be prior to losing that Strashnik. Here's a nice engage here. I like this. I like this. He's scooting all the way up to be able to flank and do damage to this unit that's trying to take cover behind this rock. Grenade, whatever. I don't think he's really worried about that. He is behind cover. Yep, Gunner's gonna respect that and just walk away. As I think he just wiped that grenadier that arrived, and just out of desperation, he's gonna throw another grenade on the grenadier that just showed up. And so far, so good for Saturas, able to maintain this flag in his favor. And he's gaining the VPs that he needs to be able to catch up, as he is behind a little bit here. 79 VPs versus 88 VPs. Looks like one rifleman was sent over to be able to hold off, I guess, Saturas' push on the right side. The majority of the forces do show up for Mixu on the right side to be able to take back that VP point. For some reason, that unit is retreating. Oh, okay. Full retreat due to the fact that there's so many red forces showing up near that VP, and he did have to retreat that earlier, so now posting up some sort of defensive posture towards the right side is probably going to be more ideal, because whatever. That one iron mine towards the left side, this one right here, I'm not really worried about that. Right, so here comes the replenishment of his forces. As you can tell, he's using that engineer to be able to heal up that Strashnik. And for the ones that don't know, engineers healing up Strashniks is a cheaper way of reinforcing your mechs, as reinforcing them near your HQ or your workshop or whatever it is a lot more expensive. This Strashnik, I said it in the beginning, right? Riflemen do really well against Strashniks. However, with one engineer behind them, they pretty much become invincible. There's another unit to wipe. Mixu's losing track of his units here and there as he has them scattered out. And look at Saturas, very focused, right? So mass infantry towards the right side, and just a Strashnik and an engineer following it around, so he's not losing or mismicroing his units anywhere. See what I'm talking about? Looks like Mixu left another rifleman squad. Oof. Looks like Anna took a shot from Anna from afar. Looks like Mixu is trying to step up and be somewhat aggressive here, looking for the Anna. Sisters are going at each other, but he's running right into a massive amount of POLANIA riflemen here. Uh-oh. Mixu sending the right infantry, or the right unit, towards the Strashnik here. Yeah, Saturas needs to respect this. However, this engineer could potentially go into melee. Looks like, yep, he is going to go into melee here. However, with the reinforcements coming from the riflemen towards the north, that is going to be, he has to retreat that. He's going to lose that fight. And losing that Strashnik is not going to be, I'm looking at the HP bars down below. Yep, it just died. Yikes. He's being a little bit too overconfident in there. And that means that Mixu should have one more Strashnik running around, no? Whee! That is a lot of damage. Not only from the gunners themselves, but also Anna. The recent nerfs to heroes that happened about a month or two ago was actually really good. Now, nerf sometimes means a bad thing. It is not a bad thing. Nerfing the heroes was a very valid nerf, I guess you could say. Yeah, there's another Strashnik. By the way, Mixu does have the upper hand in light mechs. Grenade there. Not gonna take a lot of damage. Maybe half health. Not bad though. Yeah, recent nerfs to heroes was actually a really good job by the development team, because we did see Gunther back in the day 1v1 what seems to be Kaisers. And there is the second spike that I was talking about. So, as you can see, we did this, we built the building, we got a reserve 1 spike, R1 right here, and then the second spike is happening. Whether it's R2 or something else like a Tor, And these are the two spots everyone's so excited to watch and are actually struggling against. And I'm gonna speak more on behalf of just the community itself and what their opinions are. What I'm noticing more and more as Saturas is moving up to try to fend off Anna, capping that point, dealing damage as much as possible with the battle cry ability, laying down the DPS. Speaking of DPS, here comes Mixu Strashnik to be able to fend off some riflemen. Elite riflemen, by the way. Also dodging a gritty. Nice. Fending off. There goes one retreating rifleman. However, gunners are focusing down that Strashnik. Mixu might be overextending towards the left side. On the right side, looks like he is retreating, but believe it or not, here is a tour. And Mixu does see that due to the fact that he is in charge or has captured that flag towards the left side. So he's well aware that there is a tour there. Alright, so while Mixu retreats, let's talk about this because I don't think we're going to be fighting much, especially after that one shot, almost half healthing or more than half healthing that Grenadier. Just doing some cleanup work here. So again, build a building, res 1 spike. Build a building, res 2 or big mech spike, right? And this is what happens. And what I think the development team should start focusing on is smoothing this progress out a little bit. And that's where balancing is going to come in. A lot of it has to play with the amount of things mechs cost, right? Whether it's oil or iron. A lot of it has to do with the set amount of armor, which is it's sort of arbitrary. It's sort of random. The armor values in this are sort of don't really play much value into combat. I mean, I know that Tor is strong, but it has heavy armor, and anything that counters heavy armor is supposed to counter it, but throw gunners in front of it and it doesn't do a good job at all. However, light armor, as you can see, as gunners are focusing down this light armor mech, is going to do really well, especially if you miss micro and not pay attention, as Mixu is right now. So Saturas mass retreating there, and that is a dead Strashnik. Again, he's losing track of his units. Looks like Mixu has lost several units so far. Lost 2 Strashniks to gunners and riflemen. Now the only thing that Saturas needs to do is build another tour, and that is the meta. Here it is. 1 tour. Get yourself a bunch of riflemen, as I mentioned in the beginning. Second tour, why not? You have yourself a hero. That's, you know, you can revive it. No big deal if she dies or falls or whatever. And yeah, that is it. POLANIA is really strong in that because riflemen are able to stay behind cover. POLANIA is really strong because they have massive mechs that have incredible amount of range, and they can counter all those infantry members that you've been getting throughout the course of 16 minutes of combat. POLANIA is really strong because their buildings are the cheapest, so that means that they are able to place that barracks and or workshop down first, getting that reserve 1 faster than anyone else. That's why everyone else has to mirror that matchup and get themselves POLANIA as well. POLANIA are just really strong. And this is where we are with the meta. Some players, you know, are going to pick another faction for the memery. For I think Zyron mentioned that, hey, I'm going to go Rusviet next qualifier. And I wish him good luck with that. And hopefully he's able to prove everyone wrong. Even the King Art Games team has said, hey, Saxony is one of the most picked factions. Or Rusviet has the Ognivo, which is one of the most picked mechs. The reason are the most picked mech because we're tired of playing POLANIA because they're so strong, or we're trying to find ways to be able to fend off this nonsense. There is no Laukas, there is no Musness. No, there aren't any Jews today, but there were some yesterday because those things give me nightmares as well. But POLANIA, as you can see, even if you go towards the leaderboards right now, you're going to see that they are on top of the leaderboards. The only thing that Mixu can do is hopefully respond with the same exact build. 2 tours, maybe sneak an AET somewhere in the backline, but even the positioning of the ATs is going to be extremely hard as tours are now focusing down the resources, eliminating any ideas and or thoughts that he might have of building said AT or tour. So it's going to slow him down, and it's not easy to catch up. There's the catch-up mechanic that they have in place is in regards to VP points getting captured, right? We saw a game of Troyd winning an amazing comeback by decapturing a flag, which I think is actually a good mechanic. But when it comes to pure firepower, there isn't much that can counter said spike that I drew for you guys earlier. Once you're behind in that spike, the only thing that you could potentially win in is a flag decap victory. And that's it. Look at Saturas is actually able to have his engineers at his opponent's face. Throwing himself behind cover here. And the second tour is already waiting. And I can guarantee you that if Mixu sees this, I don't think Mixu knows that there's a second tour here, by the way. If I saw 2 tours and I'm behind, I think I'm done. As I said, yeah, he's just gonna throw in the towel, and that's totally understandable. Anyways, I hope this was somewhat helpful for a lot of the new players. I hope some of the dev team members take a look at this and work out some of these spikes that we've been noticing, especially for POLANIA. Tools are really strong, Jeux are really strong. Those are the Res 1 setups right now for the meta. So if you're climbing the charts, go ahead and try it out. Other than that, if you like this kind of stuff, go ahead and leave me a comment down below. That's what the comment section's for, and I'll see you guys next time. All right, just get you out. Peace.